getting fired up, man. I just be getting fired up by seeing y'all here on Triple M, man. Let's get it. I hope you guys are having an amazing new month. You guys, it's officially May 2017. It's officially a new month, a new day, second quarter of the year. Man, we getting it in, you guys, right now. All those goals you talked about, yo, 2017 going to be this, 2017 going to be that. You guys are on track to it, hopefully. And if not, no problem. The game ain't over yet. We just started second quarter. Sometimes you have a hot first quarter. Sometimes maybe you don't. But second quarter is where you get to make up for it or continue it. So welcome to Triple M, you guys. Monday Morning Motivation. I'm one half of the, people that are going to be hosting. Aubrey and Roxy here. Yes, I do have glasses on. Got to get ready for this bike race and also got to get ready for a great month, you guys. So get your notebooks ready. And I encourage you to write it down, not put it on your phone. There's something about the mechanics of writing that connects information to your brain in another way. I don't know what it is. That's something that this doesn't do that this does, So today we're going to be listening to Sylvester Stallone. You might know him as Sly. You might know him as Rocky. You might know him, as a guy who calls out Adrian. But what I know him as is a guy that had some tough times in life and never let that stop him from achieving what he said he wanted to achieve, to really inspire people to dream big. So we're going to be listening to Sylvester Stallone, Top 10 Rules for Success. You guys get your notebooks out. I thought this was a great, because, we listen to different things. Sometimes we listen to the rah-rah. Sometimes we listen to the, Zen Buddhism. Sometimes we listen to the, nice and compassionate. I felt like a little bit more fire to start the month was going to be, what we needed to get it going. Sometimes you got to get the fire going, and then, the love and the compassion keeps the fire going. But let's get that fire spark today. So without further ado, get your notebooks ready. We got my boy Sylvester Stallone on Triple M.
Mentor me, Sylvester.
What in this whole world turns you on?
Challenge. I really just, I just love it. I love being told no.
Gotcha.
It just means yes.
To you?
Yeah.
What turns you off?
Lack of enthusiasm really turns me off.
Mike, I don't care what your grandfather thinks about me, okay? All I care about is you. Now, you lost back there because you beat yourself. You let yourself get beat. I know you can do it. You're a special kid. You're my boy, do you understand? But you're also a spoiled, rich brat who's always had everything done for him. Now it's time to do for yourself, Mike, and you can do it. Because I'm telling you, the world meets nobody halfway. Do you understand what that means? If you want it, Mike, you gotta take it. Do you hear me? You gotta take it. Go in there and try. I know you can win. But even if you don't, so what? So you lose. As long as you lose like a winner, it doesn't matter. Because you did it with dignity. I'm telling you, if you don't go in there, you're going to be sorry. You're going to regret it your whole life. You know what I mean? Come on. I know you can do it. Will you do it for me? Come on. Let's count.
Let's start from the beginning. Was there ever a time that you doubted yourself?
Yeah, I thought when I lived in basically this flop house. It's $26 a week, very transient, and you share the floor with 10 people. You don't know anybody on the planet, literally no one.
I think I recall you saying your acting low point, The Godfather, and you said you couldn't even get in the...
I couldn't even get cast as an Italian. I'll never forget where there's a party scene. There's 300 guests. I said, no. I go, what part of me didn't make past the Italian identification aspect? They go, I don't know, you just don't fit in. Wow. God's telling me something.
That's got to play with your psyche a little bit.
A little bit.
I know.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And you decided to take matters into your own hands by writing Rocky.
I've been coming in for 6 years, and 6 years you've been sticking it to me. I want to know how come.
You want to know?
I want to know how!
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Because you had the talent to become a good fighter. And instead of that, you became a leg breaker.
You were able to write Rocky in 3.5 days. The movie that went on to be Best Picture. you wrote in 3.5 days?
Yes.
Was it just flowing out of you?
You know what it was? I knew that this was going to be very flawed, but if I could get from the beginning to the end with some semblance of a character, then I'll repair the rest along the way.
And you want to star in it. And you're told, no, you were even offered $250,000.
360.
360. You're a struggling actor.
Oh.
You can't make ends meet. You're getting offered all this money, but you didn't take it.
No. I just didn't understand how the rules of life were played at that point. But this character, I understood.
What's your point?
My point is I'm pursuing something and nobody looks too happy about it.
But we're just looking out for your interests.
I appreciate that, but maybe you're looking out for your interests just a little bit more. I mean, you shouldn't be asking people to come down here and pay the freight on something they paid. It still ain't good enough. I mean, you think that's right? I mean, maybe you're doing your job, but why you gotta stop me from doing mine? Because if you're willing to go through all the battling you gotta go through to get to where you want to get, who's got the right to stop you? I mean, maybe some of you guys got something you never finished, something you really want to do, something you never said to somebody, something. And you're told no, even after you pay your dues. Who's got the right to tell you that? Who? Nobody. It's your right to listen to your gut. It ain't nobody's right to say no after you earn the right to be where you want to be and do what you want to do. You know, the older I get, the more I got to leave behind. That's life. The only thing I'm asking you guys to leave on the table is what's right.
I am a messenger. I've always believed that, kind of a teacher. I've been down, I've been poor, I've been the lowest a person can be in this business and come up. So I've seen every facet of it. So don't ever, the word impossible should go out. Because I am a living testimony that miracles do exist through hard labor and dedication. If I had to rewind the clock 10 years, I would have insisted by people that are close to me that please push me into very unsafe projects. At least every other one. I think it's professionally responsible to not continue to remake the same film over and over again. You know, what's tonight? Turkey TV dinner. Turkey TV dinner.
What you mean don't think about this? When you start in treatment?
I'm not doing no chemotherapy. I'm not crazy at all. If I could take everything that was good and put it into a bowl or something and say, hey, here, I'd like to buy one more day with my wife, I do it. Everything I got is moved on, and I'm here. I never wanted to do this movie. I thought Sick Rocky is so counterintuitive to what Rocky really is designed for. I just laid there. I said, can someone else be sick in the movie and not me? Because I've never done that. My wife goes, you're a coward. No, you know, that's kind of a harsh word. He goes, no, it's you're yellow, basically. You're a coward. It goes against every undeclared artistic rule. If you're afraid of something, that's the commitment of the artist. That's his duty, to pursue the unknown, to go someplace where he's literally at odds with himself.
Right there, old man?
Yeah. You know, if you look hard enough, you can see your whole life from up here.
How does it look?
Not bad at all.
He said he knew his whole life what he wanted to do since he was very, very young. He wanted to be in the movie business, period. I mean, not just TV, movies. And he said why was, for him, it was a chance to have people not only escape, but to inspire people. And by the way, that drive is what made most of his movies, inspire people to what they're capable of, to overcome unbelievable obstacles, because in his own life, he felt like he did that. When he was born, he was pulled out by the forceps. That's why he looked the way he did. That's why he talked the way he did. And he said, so I really want to do that. And he said, I knew why I wanted to do it, and I wasn't willing to settle for anything else. And he said, what happened was, I went out to try and get jobs, and it's not like I went, hey, Adrian, they went, you're a star. It didn't work out real well. They looked at me and said, hey, you're stupid looking, do something else. You know, what is it talking like this? There's no place for you in that stuff. You're never going to be a star in the movies. You're insane. No one's going to want to listen to somebody who looks dopey and talks out of the side of their mouth, right? And he got no after no after no after no. He said, I was thrown out more than 1,500 times of agents' offices in New York. I said, there aren't 1,500 agents in New York. He said, I know. I've been to them 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. He said, remember one guy, I went in there and I got in there at 4 o'clock and he wouldn't see me, so I stayed there and I would not leave. And I stayed overnight. They came back the next morning, I was still sitting there. He said, that's how I got my first job. The guy said, fine, come in here. And he sat down and he went through this and he gave my first movie. I said, oh, really? I thought Rocky was your first movie. He said, no, this other movie, I'd never heard of it. He said, I said, well, what character did you play? He said, well, I was in it for about 20 seconds. I was a thug that somebody beat up. He said, because they made me feel like, people hate your guts. You getting beat up, it'll be a good thing. And he did like 3 movies like that. Never got anything, kept going out, rejection. So finally he realized it wasn't working. So he changed his approach. He said, I was starving, by the way. He said, I couldn't pay for even to have heat in my apartment. My wife was screaming at me every day to go get a job. I said, well, why didn't you? He said, because I knew that if I got a job, he said, I'd get seduced back and I'd lose my hunger. He said, I knew that the only way I could do this is if it was the only choice, if I burned all other bridges. Because if I did a normal job, pretty soon I'd be caught up in that rhythm and that stuff, and I'd feel okay about my life, and I feel like my dream would just gradually disappear. And he said, I wanted to keep that hunger. That hunger was the only thing I thought was my advantage. He said, but my wife didn't understand that at all. And he said, we'd have these vicious fights, and he said it was freezing. So I was broke, we had no money, and he said, so I finally went to the public library one day because it was warm. So I didn't want to read anything. So I went in, New York Public Library. He said, I was hanging out there, and I sat down in this chair, and somebody left a book there. And he said, I looked down at this book, and there were the poems of Edgar Allan, stories of Edgar Allan Poe. And he said, so I started reading it. He said, I got totally into Edgar Allan Poe. And he said, I know everything about it. He goes on for another 20 minutes telling me about Edgar Allan Poe. He knows everything, how he died, what it was about, what really happened. And I said, well, what did Poe do for you? He said, Poe got me out of myself. He got me to think about how I could touch other people and not worry about myself so much. And he said, it made me decide to become a writer. I said, just imagine Rocky the writer, right? And he said, so I tried to write a bunch of screenplays, nothing worked. I was totally broke. He said, I didn't even have $50. And he said, and finally, he said, I sold a script. And it was called Paradise Alley. He said, it's a movie I made many years later, but I sold it. And he said, I sold it for $100. He said, but $100 was a ton of money, man. I was so thrilled. I thought, I'm on my way. But it never led to anything. And he said, so finally, he said, I kept going and going and going. He said, finally, we were so broke. He said, I hawked my wife's jewelry. He said, Tony, there's some things in life you should never do. He said, that was basically the end of our relationship. She hated my guts so much. He said, now we were so broke, we had nothing, no food, no money. And he said, the one thing I loved most in the world was my dog. He said, I love my dog because he gave me unconditional love, unlike my wife. And he said, so what happened was, though, we were so broke that to survive, I couldn't even feed my dog. So I went to a liquor store. He said, it was the lowest day of my life. And I stood outside the liquor store trying to sell my dog to strangers. He said, I tried to sell my dog for $50. And he said that finally this one guy negotiated with me and bought my dog for me, my best friend on earth, for $25. He said, I walked away from there and I cried. He said, it was the worst thing that ever happened in my life. He said, 2 weeks later, I'm watching a fight between Muhammad Ali and Wepner, this white guy that's getting bludgeoned but just keeps on coming. And he said, I got an idea. He said, as soon as the fight ended, I started writing. He said, I wrote for 20 straight hours. I did not sleep. I wrote the entire movie in 20 hours straight. Right then, saw the fight, wrote the movie, whole thing, done. He said, I was shaking at the end. I was so excited. He said, I really knew, man. I knew what I wanted. I knew why I wanted it. He said, just like you teach that formula. He said, but I said, man, I took the action. Now it's time to deliver. And so he said, I went out and started trying to sell it to agents. And they all would read it, and they'd say, this is predictable. This is stupid. This is sappy. He said, I wrote down all the things they said, and I read them the night of the Oscars when we won. And he said, it was really good, right? The greatest revenge is massive success. And he said, so what happened was, he said, I kept going, trying to sell it, nobody got it, I'm broke, I'm starving. He said, finally, I meet these guys, they read it, and they believe in the script, and they love it. And they offer me $125,000 for my script. I said, oh my God, you must have been out of your mind. He said, I was. I said, just one thing though, guys, you got a deal based on one thing. And they said, what's that? He said, I got a star in it. They went, pfft. What are you talking about? You're a writer. I said, no, I'm an actor. I said, no, you're a writer. I said, no, I'm an actor. That is my story, and I'm Rocky. He said, I got to play it. I got to be the head person. I got to be the starring role. And they said, there's no way. We're not going to pay you $125,000, take some no name and stick you in that and throw our money away. We need a star, And they wanted to have Ryan O'Neal play Rocky, to give you a picture. Can you imagine? That's who they picked, right? And so he said, no way, Ryan O'Neal isn't Rocky, I'm Rocky. Went through this whole thing, right? They said, well, take it or leave it. He said, I left the room. I said, if that's what you believe, you don't get my script. And he left. Here's a man with no money, none, totally broke, offered $125,000 more money than he'd seen in his lifetime. And he walked away because he knew his real what? Knew his real what? And why he wanted it. He was committed to it. So he said they called him a few weeks later, and they came and brought him back. and they offered him $250,000 not to star in his own movie. He turned it down, $250,000. They came back, their final offer was $325,000. They wanted this thing. He said, not without me, and they said no. They finally compromised, and they gave him $35,000 and points in the movie, because they said, if this is going to happen, then you're going to take the risk with us. And the bottom line is, we don't think it'll work, but at least we won't spend a bunch of money on you. And then they only spent $1 million to make Rocky, and it grossed $200 million at the time. I mean, it was done pretty well. But what's interesting about this is, I said, what'd you do? I mean, even $35,000, it's not $250,000. That's a lot of money when you don't have $25. I said, what's the first thing you did? I figured you went out and partied or something. He said, I went to that liquor store for 3 straight days and hoped that the man who had my dog frequented the store. He said, because I want to buy back my dog. I thought that was so cool, right? That was really cool. I said, what happened? He said, third day I was there, this guy walks by, and I see him, and I can't believe it, and there's my dog. And I looked at him, and I said, sir, remember me? And he said, it had been about a month and a half by the time this had all come about. And he said, remember me? You know, I'm the guy that sold you the dog. And I goes, yeah, I love the dog. He said, well, look. He said, I was so broke, I was starving. He's my best friend. I'm sure you love him too, but I gotta have him black. Please, I beg of you. He said, I'll pay you $100 for the dog. I know you paid me $25, but I'll give you $100. And the man said, absolutely not, no way. He's my dog now, you can't buy him back, right? And Sly said, you know, Tony, you know, he said, know your outcome? I said, yeah. He said, I knew it. And he said, I kept changing my approach, so I went $500 for the dog. The guy said, absolutely no way. He said, $1,000 for my dog. The guy said, no amount of money on earth is ever going to get this dog for you. I said, what'd you do? He said, I knew my outcome, right? Because he listened to these tapes, kept to him. He said, I decided to take massive action. He said, I got my dog. I just kept changing my approach, so I got it. I said, what'd it cost you? $15,000 and a part in Rocky. The guy's in Rocky. You know that dog in Rocky, Butt Kiss? That's Sly's real dog, right? That's the dog. He bought him back. So he put his dog in the movie, and he put the guy in the movie and paid $15,000 while he had $35,000. Isn't that pretty cool? Pretty awesome. So there's always a way if you're committed. Just got to keep changing your approach.
But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to know, what did you think of this video? What kind of motivation did you get from it?
Man, my boy Rocky got me ready to go out. Wait a minute, hold up. Gotta get the glasses back on. Hold up. All right, you guys. Rocky broke down some stuff for us, a.k.a. Sylvester Stallone. So let's get into some points you guys took away. We're going to start with me because Roxy's in the back real quick. So a couple of my biggest takeaway points were no means yes. I really like that one. Why? Because for me, I've seen a difference in my life where I thought that the rules were the rules. Like, meaning when somebody said no, that was no. Or when somebody said I could do it, I could do it. Like, when the external rules became my rules. And then I also saw a difference in my life when the external rules were not my rules. What did that mean? You guys were ever a kid and your parents used to say, you know what, no candy right now. And then you come back 2 minutes later, be like, well, can I have it now? You said no, that was like two minutes ago, but now it's a different time on the clock. And, you know, maybe I put on a different shirt and maybe I clean my room. Can I have it now? And they'd be like, no. I'd be like, okay. Maybe I ask mom. I'm going to go ask dad. because, you know, their mom and dad, their parents. I'm going to be like, okay, Dad, can I have the candy? Dad told me, I was like, cool, candy, done. I used to love these little red, like, sour cherry candies. And then my parents came to me like, yo, Aubrey, you can't do that. You can't ask one of us and then go ask. I was like, who? Okay. But who made these decisions? Like, what I can and cannot do? I didn't say that at the time, but I was like, you know, I was just a kid, and so were you, where when you had something you wanted, you were going to do whatever it took to get there. And then somewhere along the line, when people told you how things were supposed to be and you don't do this and this is how things are done, you started to create all these ways that life was, so where no became no for you. Where somebody told you, hey, women don't do that, became, okay, women do not do that. Where they told you your certain race or background doesn't do that. Your certain, you know, orientation doesn't do that. Your certain background of where you grew up doesn't do that or does do that. Became what it was in your reality. And I really love this because nobody else's rules have to become your rules. Yes, we all have certain rules. We need to breathe oxygen. We got to pay our taxes or you'll be, you know, in some trouble. Other than that, it's really up to you. And the minute you realize that just because somebody says no doesn't mean no. It may mean not right now. Hey, can I get a raise? No? Okay, that means not right now. Or maybe your raise isn't going to come from there. Can you live in this certain place? Can you live like this certain lifestyle? Can you make this certain kind of impact? Somebody tells you no, it may not be no. It just may not be right now or it may not be how you think it's going to be. But if you stop, it can never be. I love that one. Next one. Leave your comfort zone. He's talking about in his movies, you know, if you see, they call it typecasting. What does typecasting mean? Did you ever notice that Star Wars, Mark Hamill, which was Luke Skywalker, never got casted for any other movies really? Why? Because everywhere he would go, yo, that's Luke Skywalker. That's not Mark Hamill, that's Luke Skywalker. So it's hard for him to get other roles. And then also, maybe he didn't reach out to other kinds of roles, meaning taking chances to try new things. He said every other movie, if the people around you will push you to try something new, it will really change the game for you. Instead of people around you telling you to do the same thing, stay the same course, be the same person. Just do Rocky movies. Just do Rocky movies. And he said the really benefit to you, even though it may not feel comfortable, is to try those new things that do feel uncomfortable. And I really love, you got to get people in your life like this. This is really important. Don't just get yes people in your life. His wife told him when he didn't want to play the sick Rocky in Creed, the Apollo Creed movie, the son of Creed, I think. His wife was like, yo, you're a coward. You're yellow. An artist's job is to take on those things that scare him to inspire others to do the same. And I don't know about you, but I was like, damn, his wife told him that? Like, I was inspired by that because do you have people in your life that A, have the, you know, that you said, hey, I want you to keep it real with me. B, that are going to keep it real with you. C, this is really important. Love you enough to keep it real with you. And then on the flip side of that, are you that for other people? You know, do you have people around you that just say, yo, it's cool. Yo, it's cool that we stay at this job. Yo, it's cool that we make just enough. Yo, it's cool that we eat these donuts. Yo, it's cool that we watch this TV. Yo, it's cool that we whatever. Or do you have people around you that's like, yo, I see you haven't taken on these challenges. Not in a you're bad, you're not enough, you suck kind of way, but in the I know you have more in you. I see your greatness. I want you to be your greatness. It's done for you because it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm sure that was an uncomfortable conversation. But do you have those kind of people in your life? And sometimes maybe you have to give people the permission to be that in your life. And who are you that for in their life? You know, sometimes I know it can kind of be a little tough when you have family members or you have friends that maybe pick up the soda, that maybe pick up the In-N-Out, that maybe pick up the alcohol, that maybe watch a lot of TV. You know, I was just doing some morning cardio and I walked out. It was actually one of my neighbors. I saw him grabbing a Gatorade from the thing. And I was like, do I say something? Do I not? Does he think I'm just going to try to sell him some Herbalife? It wasn't like this. I said, yo, bro, I got to hook you up with some Herbalife sometime. I was like, let me show you something. I grabbed this Gatorade and I said, look at this. You see how they don't put a percentage next to the sugar? He's like, oh, yeah. I was like, that's because 25 grams of sugar is your recommended for your whole day. This is 34 grams, which means if they put it right, this would be 150% of your day in one bottle. So I did it because, honestly, I don't want him to drink some sugary drink because I know that's not good for his health. It wasn't about selling Herbalife. It was about, I really believe that if you were to continue on that path of just eating and consuming things that aren't serving his health, I don't think he's going to live as good a life as if he took on things that did serve his health. Shout out to the Herbalife. But it's not even about Herbalife. It's about being in it for him. Now, if you'd have been like, oh, no, man, I ain't trying to try that wax up. Oh, no, man, I'm good. I would have still been okay because I didn't do it to sell him. I did it to want to have the best outcome for him. And if you do those things from that place, the uncomfortable, the maybe saying things that people don't want to hear, or maybe you hearing things you don't want to hear from people, if it comes from the right place, the intention, like his wife wanted to see him happy. She probably knew that he didn't like playing a small game and not doing the things that he was committed to doing, aka inspiring people, why he did Rocky, why he had success in his journey. So it's all about the come from, but the come from has to have action behind it, even if the action is uncomfortable. So those are my biggest takeaways. I'm going to pass it to some of you guys. I know we got some stuff in the chat bar. If you're at work and you can't talk, no problem. Put it in the chat bar. This is from Karina. Still, when they offered him lots of money for a script, he didn't sell out his dream. He never let his dream out of his sight, never settled for the life that he had, even when he didn't have anything. Make your dream your only choice. That was crazy. You guys imagine, you got to remember, this is like in the 80s. They offered him, maybe it was in the 70s, because you know they got to do the movie before the movie comes out. $125,000, $150,000. That's a lot of money even today. You know, even today, I'd have to be like, damn, they trying to sell my dream out for $125,000. Maybe I'll get my dream on the next one. The next one, I got to get this one. Imagine that in the that was probably like $500,000 if you equate it. When you broke, that, you know what? That's why he is who he is. That was crazy. All right, let's get a couple more takeaways. Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you got a takeaway from today's Triple M. Thumbs up, big smile. Look at me. Let's get it, Marvin. What's up? What you got?
What's up, everybody? Great morning. Man, super fired up. A couple things that caught me was him saying being committed. We went through that all weekend. Whoever was at LDW, shout out to everybody. I know Monty was there. Everybody was there. You know, being committed. Like Stefan Graziani kept saying, like, "Are you nice mug, by the way? Are you willing? Are you willing to make massive impact? So how committed are you to this? If you're not that committed, well, then maybe that's why it shows in your volume. Don't know why. You know, everybody has different obstacles that we're dealing with daily, right? So how committed are you to make massive impact in your business and in your local community? Like, I know we're going to take that on very, very strongly. We're about to change the whole world, for real, the whole world. And then another one was it really, really got to me when he said, you know, they're going to be throwing punches at you. You know, what you going to do? Like, and it was kind of the same thing that Debbie Katz said. She was like, if someone's throwing punches at you, what are you going to do? Someone said bob and weave and duck, and nah, like, you just got to stay there, you know, throw those punches back, take the punches, because we're all going to take punches. Like right now, currently we're taking punches in our business, but you know, it's cool. We're still rocking with it. We're still punching back, and we're still going to keep fighting, because at the end of the day, we want to reach our dreams and our goals. And our goal is a press team, right? Let's go.
Let's get it. Love it. Nice cut, bro. Oh, drink it out of that green. Let's get it, you guys. Awesome. Love that. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard. I love it. Bruce Lee said it similarly. I love his a little bit better because it makes a lot of sense. Who's ever hit a bag and you're like, man, you hit a puncher bag. I'm a beast, man. Nobody wants it. Yo, y'all don't want it. And he's like, bro, the board, he was talking about a board because somebody broke a wood board. He's like, bro, the board don't hit back. It's very different in the real world. To think you're never going to, like, to get in, like, if you see a boxing match, Who's ever seen a boxing match? I used to see boxing matches when I was a kid, and it'd be like the 5th and 6th round. I'd be like, man, they're weak. I get in there and just beast it. They're tired as hell. Have you ever boxed for like a minute, like just practice? It's the hardest thing ever. I'm looking at like 5th round, man, I would kill it in there. They got their arms down. They moving all slow. That's because I'm sitting on my couch, and they're getting punches thrown at them in the face, not to mention going hard for a minute by itself, let alone 6, 7, 10, like it's the hardest thing ever. Like, that's different, because when you have to deal with real life, which does hit back, which does throw punches, which does throw obstacles, it's way different. So it's not about how you perform when it's just a punching bag. It's about how you perform when the hit back comes. So dope, love that. Let's get it. Let's get one more takeaway. Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you got a takeaway. Look at me. Breathe. Let's get it. Marita, what you got?
Hey guys, good morning. So really quick, I just wanted to touch up on what Aubrey said to leave your comfort zone. So for me, that's, you know, something really, oh, why am I getting so emotional? But it's something big, because I feel like we are our biggest, we judge ourselves harder than anybody else. So to me, it's, oh my God, I don't even know. But just don't doubt your doubts and believe your beliefs, guys, because imagine how far you could go if you could just believe it and don't listen to any of your doubts and just keep going. Like, that was something really big for me, because sometimes I feel like I hold myself back from, you know, going and reaching a certain goal that I have. So I'm going to take on that and, like, really go hard.
Love it. Thank you so much, Myra. Opening up on this Triple M. Let's get it. Doubt your doubts. Believe your beliefs. And as you do that, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to have these layers peel off. That just means confirmation and validation. You're going in the right direction, you guys. Thank you so much, Myra, for being vulnerable and transparent on the call. Thank you guys for everybody for being on. You guys starting the month off strong. May, 2nd quarter of the year. We're just getting started, you guys. Do not leave this with you. It's cool that you fired up. You got to pay it forward. Repost the flyer. Repost a picture of Sylvester Stallone. Repost the link when I posted the recorded link on Facebook. Pay it forward to your people. Invite everybody to be on Monday morning, and let's have an amazing May. I'm going to take you guys all off mute. Let's get to work.